Hey everyone, welcome back to another CollectA review. Today we'll be taking a look at another one of their 2020 releases. It's their Deluxe Microraptor. End up ordering this figure from Everything Dinosaur. It retails for just under $10, and as always, the link to ED will be in the description if you want to order one for yourself. So getting back to this figure, I was very excited when CollectA announced they were doing a deluxe version of a Microraptor, and I have to say, this is a nice size figure for that just under $10 price point. I was actually quite impressed by the size of the figure when I got it in. So since we're talking about size, let's do a couple quick measurements. This figure is just about 7.5 inches long from the tip of the snout to the tip of the tail right here. And the wingspan on this is just about 5.5 inches long. And this figure is just about 2 3/4 inches tall from to the top of the head right here. So this figure is a deluxe figure from CollectA, and they're saying it's in 1/6 scale. In real life, Microraptor was about 2.5 to 3 feet long. So with those measurements, I'll put this figure somewhere in the 1/4 to 1/5 scale range. The largest estimate for Microraptor is about 3.9 feet. If you use that size estimate, that will put this figure somewhere in that 1/6 scale range. Moving on to the sculpt of this Microraptor, it's sculpted in a defensive position. It has its wings spread wide, its mouth agape, screeching like it's trying to defend its territory from another Microraptor. You can see it's standing tall on its hind legs. You know, a couple other Microraptor figures out, we'll get into those when we go into comparisons. They're usually sculpted with their legs like semi-crotch, so it's really nice to see this one with its hind legs fully stretched out. The paint job on this figure is pretty simple and straightforward. The whole figure is cast in black plastic, and there's a reason for that. Microraptor is one of the very few dinosaurs that we actually know what color it was. Paleontologists have determined from its feather impressions that those feathers were primarily a black coloration and that they had an iridescent sheen over them. And as you can see, CollectA did try to replicate that iridescent along all the wing feathers right here and even on the plumage on the tail. I don't know if it's showing up too well on camera, but there is hints of blue and pink on here, and this iridescence look really, really beautiful in here. I love the way it came out. Even underneath the wings, they added that iridescent dry wash over this figure. It came out really, really well. And the only other color is on the head right here. The head is in a light gray color. The eye is painted in black, just like every other CollectA figure. And inside the mouth, it is painted in pink, and the teeth are painted in white. I do have a little bit of sloppy paint right here along the tongue. And I have to say, out of all my CollectA figures, I think this is the only one with some sloppy paint on it. You know, from my experience with CollectA, their quality control on their painting seems to be really, really good. This is the only figure I could think of that actually has a sloppy paint on it. So zooming on the head a little bit, take a look at some of the finer details on it. You can see the head is a tiny bit shrink wrap. You could just barely make out the inorbital fenestra right there. There's that black colored eye that is highlighted in a light gray color. The nostril is sculpted in right there. You get a nice look at those very finely sculpted teeth. Really nice sculpting work on this head, on this Microraptor. All the feathers on this figure are sculpted in beautifully. It's a little bit of a shaggy look. You know, when we pull up the Safari one is sculpted much smoother. It looks much more elegant. I kind of prefer that smoother look instead of this shaggy feather look, but all the primary and secondary feathers along the wings right here are beautifully sculpted. You can really, really see that iridescence. A lot of beautiful feather detail on here. You can see the claws on the wings right here are cast in that black plastic that the whole figure is cast in. All in all, a really nice looking figure. You see all the feathering along the neck right here, underneath the body. All that nice feathering continues around. The tail is nice and thin with more of that gorgeous feathering. Going down to that beautifully sculpted plumage right there. And then you have the second set of wings along the hind legs right here. Let me just focus in on those. You can see those are beautifully painted in with that iridescent, especially on this side right here. You can see some of that pinkish coloration coming in. Now, there's a lot of debate if Microraptor was a flyer or a glider. You know, some paleontologists think that you use those four wings kind of like a biplane to glide from treetop to treetop. Other paleontologists think it was capable of powered flight, but you know, that is a debate for another day. But all in all, this is a very well sculpted Microraptor figure. I kind of just wish was a little bit more fluffy. It looks a little bit, you know, that shrink wrapped look with the feathers. I just kind of wish, you know, you shave a bird, you pluck a bird, they look very, very skinny. You put the feathers on, they look very plump and fluffy, and I just kind of wish that was reflected a little bit more on this Microraptor. All right, so let's move on with some comparisons with some other Microraptor figures from other companies. Here is the PNSO Microraptor, and over here is the Safari Ltd Microraptor. Now you can see on the PNSO one right here, they try to replicate that iridescent sheen. They did it mostly like in a light blue color, which came out really, really nice. But I do like the multiple colors on the iridescence on the CollectA one, and then on the Safari one. Let me just get this PNSO one out of the way. You can see the Safari one is much fuller in comparison, especially around the neck and body. It has more of that bird-like, that fluffy down look to it, which I would much prefer, you know, compared to this, you know, skinnier looking CollectA one. But the CollectA one still is a fantastic Microraptor figure. On the Safari one, you can see they did not add any of that iridescence to it. It's just a matte black coloration. So the CollectA one still, you know, scores high with me because of that iridescence. I just absolutely love that paint job on it. And lastly, let's compare it to some of Safari's other 2020 figures. Here is their Deluxe Protoceratops. This is also a 1/6 scale figure. And like I said, this scale on this Microraptor right here is a little bit big, you know, especially when you compare these two right here, since they're in the, you know, quote unquote, the same scale. This Microraptor is like almost like Velociraptor size, you know, compared to this Deluxe Protoceratops. And here it is with the Bahadasaurus, which is still my favorite so far this year from CollectA. And here it is with the standard Baryonyx. And lastly, here it is with the standard Fukisaurus, which will be the last of the new CollectAs I'll be reviewing. You know, hopefully in a few more weeks, the second wave of the new CollectAs with the Allosaurus and the Hunted Maprosaurus. Hopefully those will be coming out soon. So final thoughts on this figure. I really like this Microraptor. My biggest complaint about it, I just wish it was a little bit fluffier looking. I just feel like it's a little too, you know, shrink wrapped with the feathers. I just kind of wish it just looked a little bit more fuller and fluffier. But, you know, for just under $10, this is an excellent Microraptor figure to add to your collection. Like I said, you get a lot of figure for that just under $10 price point. So I definitely highly recommend you add this figure to your collection. And like I said at the beginning of the video, I ended up ordering this figure from Everything Dinosaur. Link is in the description if you want to order one for yourself. So that will pretty much do it for the review. As always, if you're enjoying the content on this channel, show your support by hitting that subscription button just below the video. Each subscription helps out the channel tremendously, and it's greatly appreciated. And I'll see you guys for the next one.